Senator Michelle Steele. Good morning, Michelle.
Inviting me today, and I'm so grateful and I'm honored to, joining you all this morning. I just want to apologize. I'm in the car because I have about 50 high school students volunteering on my campaign. So actually, I'm on the way there right now. So I'm in the car, but I totally stopped. So I'm in very safe.
Good.
As you know, that I think a lot of people never met me before, so I explained that, why I ended up running for, these public offices. I was born in Korea, raised in Japan, so I speak Korean as my first language and Japanese my second. And I came to the United States when I was 19, and I graduated from Pepperdine undergrad for business administration major, and then USC graduate school for MBA. And my mother, who was first generation, and she got actually harassed by state board of equalization into taxes. They collect sales tax directly, and that's the reason that when that seat opened up, I just decided to run. And I'm very, very lucky, and I'm just so grateful that I'm living in the great country of the world. But you know what? This education system, that Asian Americans been always discriminated, because I remember when my daughter's first name is Cheyenne, and she was about to apply universities. Counselor was asking that, she has anything to do with American Indian, because Cheyenne means beautiful in Indian name. And I said no, and they said it might be helpful. That's the way it started. So I've been working on school choice in 1980s, and it didn't go anywhere. Parents have the right to choose their schools, so it's very, very important. And I know every year we're trying to bring that back on the ballot. But in California, I always tell other state representatives that, you do exactly opposite of what California does. California really discriminates all these Asian Americans. Let me start from there. I'm on not just educational committee in Congress, I'm on Ways and Means Committee, and I'm on Senate Committee on China and Executive Commission on China, and I'm on AI Task Force too. That's my background here in Congress. So in 1996, we had a Proposition 209. Let's get rid of this discrimination, not just public universities, but public the government jobs or other areas that you cannot really discriminate by the race. Then after Proposition 209 passed, then guess what universities were doing? They were actually using zip code to, so poor area, according to them, that they have to give more quotas for students to coming in. That's the way they work. And then 2020, what happened was they brought the repeal Proposition 209. So they wanted to bring the discrimination bill again. We call Prop 16. You know what? Californians never voted for that. So we got 57% of the Californians rejected that. And then, now that what they are talking about is let's get rid of all the SATs. How do you actually measure kids, students, high school students, to getting into, universities without measuring something, for their grade? Of course, they are, looking for other stuff too, like volunteer, where they volunteered, where the direction they're going, and then interviews and everything. And then 2023, Harvard and North Carolina got sued, and Supreme Court came out. Yes, they are doing actually discrimination. So right after that, I actually introduced a bill called Harvard Act. That means that all these schools receiving federal funding, they have to demonstrate how they are actually putting the scoring, the interviews, because seems like Asian students get much, much less score than Hispanics and African Americans and other students. So they get very low interview scores and they cannot get into the school. So I introduced the bill called Harvard Act that they have to give us what kind of system they are using. They have to show us transparency and accountability that exactly what they do and how they scoring these students after they interview. And you know what? That bill actually passed the committee, and we are still working on that. On the education committee, another thing is that we are working on the first thing we did for 2023 January, that education committee passed parental rights. It's really silly because every parent, they have to know better, they have to know exactly what they're doing. So first thing is what they are teaching in school. Is that obvious that parents have to know? Second, that how they are using the budget. And when they bring the speakers in, who they are bringing. And then fourth, that when kids thinking about that sexual change and they want to just move to other directions, that parents have to know. It's very simple because I always think that our parents know much more about than teachers about their own students. So we are still working on it, but still coming, a lot of different things is still coming and attacking us. So we really have to work together to stop this discrimination, because why we call Ivy League schools or why we call UCLA is better than USC, actually that's not true. But you know what? We always hear these universities, but why? We don't want to send all these good students that where they want to go and they actually apply and they deserve to get in. We really have to stop this discrimination that these universities are using. I'm still working really hard in California, and I'm working hard in the education committee, but we really have to speak up. We Asian Americans, a lot of times that we are under the radar. We are not complaining much, and we try to move on. But you know what? These unfairness coming in, we really have to speak up, and we're gonna work together so our kids, our grandkids, they can get admitted to these universities where they deserve. So that's my quick overall that what we are doing in California, what's going on, and what we want to fight for. And thank you very much for inviting me.